What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam. This is Vancity Audi. We're back at Rider Performance for a video that Kyle and I do not want to make, but to hopefully help everyone that may run into the same issue we are doing so. So we have a problem with the RS3, and that is it is reading that a level sensor in the fuel tank, the resistance is too high. I will show you the codes that are popping up on VCDS. I ran that by Unitronic, and they thought that it could be an issue with the fuel tank itself, because they saw something similar. They replaced the fuel tank and all was well in the world. So I went down to InMotion Auto located in Tacoma to see my boy George and say, hey dude, what's going on? What do you got for me? And he happened to have a used RS3 fuel tank. So I picked that up from him, brought it home. Now we're at Rider Performance. We're gonna do a swap over. I'll show you the codes on VCDS. We've never done this before. It's going to be an adventure for us too. I will walk you along step by step. It won't be a super in-depth install of a fuel tank, because to be honest with you, we don't want to do it. We're pissed off that we have to do this in the first place. There's about half a tank of fuel in there of E85 that we have to drain out first before we even get to the process of taking everything apart. We'll go through this, and hopefully at the end of the day, we'll put this new tank in, or used tank in. The codes will be gone and the car will be back to perfect. What we're seeing is the fuel gauge is not showing anything. I have a check engine light, and once you drive for a bit, the fuel gauge does pop on eventually. Our theory is that maybe the siphon pump isn't pulling the fuel from one side to the other, and so one level is higher than the other rather than being balanced. So we won't be able to see that because we have to drain the damn fuel out of the tank first to figure this out, but we will go step by step through the process, and hopefully at the end of the day, the RS3 will be fixed and back in fully operating condition. So this is what we're seeing when we plug in VCDS, and the codes that it's pulling is fuel level sensor circuit signal too high. So that's what it's reading under engine. Now when you look at the fault codes under instruments, it shows up as a fuel level sensor 1 resistance too high. Same thing underneath, we see fuel level sensor 2. That's just because we disconnected the pump. First thing we're doing is checking to see how much fuel is over here. Our theory, if the pump isn't bringing the gas over to this side of the fuel tank, well, it looks like it's pissing out, so it is full of gas.
So, is it just the level sensor then?
Yeah, level sensor maybe, or the entire gas tank issue. Hopefully not that. So as per anything at Rider Performance, we don't like just dropping something in and saying, hey, this is what needs to be done, let's do it the hard route. So what we did is we plugged in VCDS. We're testing fuel level 1 sensor versus fuel level 2 sensor. The issue we're seeing is sensor 1. So what we've done is Kyle has my old OEM pump, and we've plugged that in to the car. So we're wondering if maybe it's just an issue with the fuel pump itself, possibly the connections on top of it. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna drain the gas tank. Once we've drained the gas tank, we'll probably switch the top portions of the low pressure fuel pump and see if we can get rid of this issue with VCDS showing that there's a sensor resistance too high on sensor 1. So I plugged in my IE PowerLink cable, and one of the extras they have is to drain fuel. So I've started it, and then if you follow me on the other side of the car, don't mind the mess, we have it pumping straight from the low pressure fuel pump into a jerry can.
What do you guys do? There we go. Okay.
There we go. Ta-da. Level sensor removed.
There we go.
So now that we've reconnected the pump in its entirety, when we move the fuel level, it's reading exactly like it's supposed to on VCDS. So I think we're gonna try it like this and reconnect everything, put fuel back in the gas tank. I've cleared the codes on VCDS. There are no more codes, and hopefully we've figured it out. Now looking at VCDS for the different fuel level sensors, both of them are reading correctly as well. So in theory now, if we lift this level sensor all the way to the top, that number should go down. In theory, that means that there's less resistance because there is more fuel in the tank. Let's check out VCDS and see if it went down. Amazing, went down to 79 ohms. Now I'm gonna push the lever all the way to the bottom as if the fuel tank was empty. From full all the way to empty. There you go, down low. Let's check out VCDS. We're now back up to 295 ohms. I think this is gonna work, and we might not have to replace the fuel tank in its entirety. So we finished up switching up that level sensor. We're hoping that takes care of the fuel tank issue that we had, and lo and behold, I got a revision of the file for my TTE855 from Unitronic. I sent my logs back to them. They spent some more time on their dyno with their car, with their TTE855, made some revisions, sent that back to me. So now I'm gonna head back out to Mexico and test to see if I have any breakup. I forgot to film it for you guys, sorry, but while we were done with the fuel tank, we went and we checked out our spark plugs, we shrunk the gap. Some of them were about 21 thou, some were 21 and a half. We dropped them all down to 20. We cleaned off the plugs, cleaned off everything, made sure all the connections were good, popped them all back in, and we're hoping it's as simple as that. If you guys saw my last video, you noticed that when I was way up in the rev range, like 7,000 RPM or higher, I had a little bit of breakup. So we're hoping by cleaning the plugs off, hoping that we have this fuel sorted out, it's gonna run flawlessly. Time to get out to the streets of Mexico and see what this car can do. All right, time to see if we got rid of that breakup, see if the fuel pressure holds strong, see if we fixed that low pressure fuel pump issue. Third gear pull, TTE85 on Unitronic software. Let's do this. Yeah! Whoa! No breakup, mad power, holy shit! What do you guys think? I think we may have fixed the issue. No breakup whatsoever, all the way to red line. I think it was just the spark plug gap that I needed to shrink down a little. It was at about 21 and a half thou, 21 thou. We shrunk it down to 20, so seemed to cure that problem. Then onto the fuel pump issue. It did not appear to throw any codes. There were no check engine lights. So I think we may have solved that one a lot easier than having to replace the entire fuel tank like we thought we were going to have to. We just swapped over to the level sensor from my old OEM pump to the upgraded iRose Motorsport pump. So I think the car's running pretty damn well. I'll send that log back to Unitronic. They're gonna check out on their other beta testers and see what they see. If they need to make other adjustments to the file, they will. But as for now, I think there's only one thing left to do, and that's to see how much power this thing makes on the dyno. We're gonna get back to Racing Greed in the next video with this car. We're gonna test out the TTE855 using E85 on Unitronic software. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.